CTV backed off of Northern Perspective. It's time they back off of everybody else. Ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news in our fair dealing dispute with CTV News and Bell Media. As of last night, CTV News has officially backed down and withdrawn its copyright claim against Northern Perspective. But this story isn't over. Multiple other independent media channels are still facing copyright claims from CTV News. So while we may have won the battle on our video, the broader fight still remains. Let's take a look. So just to refresh everybody, this is what it looked like the other day when we were going back and forth with CTV, and it took about a month to get to this process. This isn't something that just happens overnight. A channel may file a copyright claim against you, and then what you do is you respond to that, citing the reasons why you think that they're wrong, and they can reject that, and then it comes back to you, and then you can respond to that again, citing additional reasons, and then it goes back to them, and then it comes back to you, and then you can essentially appeal one more time. And then when it goes back to them and they reject that, then you have roughly 7 days in order to take down the video or potentially get a copyright strike against your channel, which is a bad thing. And if you then dispute that via what's called a counter notification, it forces the other party to make the choice of whether to file a lawsuit against you for the copyright claim in court or withdraw their appeal and back down entirely. So this is what we were seeing on Northern Perspective. This is another view of that same video, and you can see it says that the copyright material was found between 8 minutes 28 seconds and 9 minutes 43 seconds, all in a 17-minute video. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is what this video looks like today. So as you can see, at the bottom it says no copyrighted content was found in your video. So what does this mean? Well, this means a couple of things. In this part of the process, if this was just some automation going on in the background, this shouldn't have happened. If there was some automation going on in the background, then you would see a automated copyright claim, us file the appeal back and saying, no, you're incorrect. And then almost immediately that is sent back as a rejection, and then it goes back and forth. But in this stage where the ball was in our court to either delete the video, withdraw our appeal, or wait. Those were our three options. So we were in the waiting pattern because we were going to essentially make CTV take us to court because we believe that we're on the fair side of fair dealing. Now, what ended up happening is with 3 days to go, 3 or 4 days to go, this has been cleared. So what happened is on CTV's side, somebody would have manually gone in and retracted the copyright claim that they sent towards Northern Perspective. Maybe it's because we started getting a lot of attention from folks online. Maybe people didn't like the practices of CTV and Bell Media, and they were either threatening, or we even saw some cases where some folks were actually canceling their services with Bell because they didn't like what was going on with their subsidiary, CTV News. Hard to say what happened, but evidently someone made the decision to withdraw the copyright claim from Northern Perspective, and rightly so. Just to remind everybody, CTV, they are in the practice of using footage from other sources, which they have every right to do so under fair dealing. They used our footage from the interview with Pierre Poilievre back in October of 2025. They used it once. They used it another 8 times. And they used it another 8 times after that for a total of 17 different videos. And in one video, it was 75% of the entire video itself, which is borderline not fair dealing. But because we understand that this happens and we understand they're a news organization and they're doing this for commentary, it's all fair game. So it was just amazing to us that they came at us and tried to do this. Now, that's the good news. Good news is that CTV has backed off of Northern Perspective. We'll see if they use this tactic when we use another one of their clips, probably later this week, when we continue to cover what's going on with the trade war and other federal political news that's going on in Canada. But the concerning aspect is that they still haven't backed off of other creators. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a video that Wyatt Claypool put up, and you can see that he used a very small amount of footage in this video. This 32-minute video, he used just over a minute of CTV news footage in here, but you can see the copyright claim is there. I spoke to Wyatt just before creating this video, and he has confirmed that the copyright claim is still there. So CTV has not removed it from his channel. Now on the Sunday live stream, we actually had another creator in our chat, and that's the creator Portuguese Pie. Some of you may know him, and his content covers similar topics, similar subjects as the rest of us. And you can see that he has a copyright claim from CTV on a video here. He has a copyright claim on another video here. And this is what it looks like to creators when we're actually seeing this stuff in our YouTube dashboard. So these are the two videos that Portuguese Pie has had a copyright claim from CTV actually hit his video. This remains a problem. This isn't just something that we're concerned about Northern Perspective. That would be self-serving, and that's not what we've ever been about. We're concerned about the broader use of fair dealing and the broader abuse of the copyright claim system within YouTube by some of these mainstream media giants and these news outlets, thinking that they can take clips from whomever they want, but other people can't take their footage and their clips and comment on them appropriately and attribute them appropriately in their own videos. This is something that we need to deal with, and we need to deal with now. Footage under the fair dealing rule. Footage can be used if you're commenting on it, if you're properly attributing to them, and if you're not trying to replace the broadcast. Meaning, if you just took one of CTV's complete videos, you didn't comment on it at all, and you just downloaded it and then re-uploaded it to your YouTube channel, you could potentially confuse somebody into thinking that they're watching the CTV news channel. In fact, they're watching it on your broadcast. And then any type of revenue that you may earn on the backs of their newscast, while someone may be thinking that it is their newscast, is actually going to you. You can't do that. That's not fair dealing. Fair dealing is you have a large piece of work. Let's just call it a 10-minute video. And you take a clip from another creator, whether it's a news broadcaster or somebody else, and you use that, but you don't use that to just sit there and watch the whole time. Use a small piece of it as part of your narrative that you're talking about in that video. That is fair dealing. And this is what we've always abided by in Northern Perspective. It's why we put the source links in our description, and it's why in almost all cases we cite who the footage is actually coming from. In the cases that we don't, it's actually pretty self-explanatory because the logo is there, the anchor is there. It's pretty obvious that it's not Northern Perspective, but it's also obvious who the source actually is. Never mind the fact that we include the source link in our description in all cases. So this is what it is. Now, we've also had several YouTube channels be taking our video on CTV that we did a couple of days ago and use that in one of their stories. And that's fair dealing as well. We're not going to be going and copyright claiming folks for actually taking that video and using it and then commenting on it, because it's literally fair dealing. It's the same reason we're not going after CTV for using our Pierre Poilievre clip. It's fair dealing. So while our fight might be over, the battle is still raging on. And we need to be ensuring that CTV is held to account and that they understand that they have people in their organization that are managing their social media that are abusing the copyright system. And we need to keep this conversation going, and we need to keep tagging them. We need to keep them under pressure so that they understand that all of us are trying to abide by the fair dealing law. You need to do the same. And you can't be using the process of YouTube to try to subvert other creators in using your clips or taking their revenue just for using a small portion of a newscast in their broader content. Because when it comes to fair dealing, fair is the key word. And as long as they are creating original content, could be built around one of your clips, then it falls within the fair dealing law. So thank you to everybody out there. Thanks to the JCCF. Thanks to the other creators that have been pushing this. Thanks to all of you that have been sharing this. We need to keep it up because the precedent has already been set. CTV backed off of Northern Perspective. It's time they back off of everybody else.